Welcome to Lingua Latina Tutorials with Mr. K, Pensvm D. This video helps explain the new grammar and syntax found in Chapter 23 of the Lingua Latina per se Strada series. It is meant to accompany the Latine Disco text available from Focus Bookstore and the Pensvm D worksheets available from 50%latin.blogspot.com or christianlanguage.com. Let's look at our first feature in the text. Found in line 2. So we have Julius qui canem latrara audivit janitorem atrium intrantem interrogat quis advenit. We have Julius, who heard the dog barking, asks the doorman entering the atrium, who arrived? The new feature that I want to point out here is the perfect stem from advenira, because the present stem of advenira is adveni with a short e, veni. The perfect stem of advenira is adveni. So the difference is only a matter of pronunciation. Adveni, so adveni, and then adveni. Advenira, advenisse. Advenira meaning to arrive, advenisse, to have arrived. Whenever you see in the margins verb forms like this, it means these are items that must be memorized. They're new or they're irregular in some way. They don't follow a normal pattern. You see here advenira, advenisse. Right below here we see ferre, tulisse latum, highly irregular form from ferre, to carry, tulisse, to have carried, latum esse, to have been carried. So verb forms like this must be memorized. The next new feature is in line 7, where we have quis nam tusculo epistolam ad me misit. We see in the margin the three principal parts of mittera. Mittera misisse misum. Mittera to send. Misisse to have sent. Misum esse to have been sent. And remember that misum without esse all by itself means having been sent. So again, these are irregular forms. Memorize these when they're in the margin. When they're not in the margin, that means that they follow a pattern that you'll be able to recognize. The next new feature that I want to point out is in line 55. Okay, go along to tacente Marco, Aemilia, quid fecit Marcus, inquit dic mihi omnia. While Marcus is quiet, with Marcus being quiet, present active ablative absolute, so we have our present active participle here. While Marcus is quiet, Aemilia asks, what did Marcus do? Tell me everything. Excuse me. So we have the four principal parts of, or the three principal parts for facere, to do, to make or to do, facere, to do, fecisse, to have done, and then factum esse, to have been done. But notice this little extra form here, io. Io tells us that facere is an I stem third conjugation verb. So, verbs like this, like facere, even though their infinitive looks just like a verb like ducere, to lead, it has an I that shows out throughout its conjugations. So in the present tense. So in the present tense, we have the present active of facere would be, if we conjugated it, would be facio, facis, facit, facimus, facitis, faciunt, I-U-N-T. And then the imperfect, faciebam with an IE, faciebam, faciebas, faciebat, faciebamus, faciebatis, faciebant. And then the future also has the I, faciam, facies, faciet, faciemus, facietis, facient. If you compare that with duco, duco does not have that I showing up in the imperfect and future conjugations. So you'll see for duco, duco, ducis, ducit. So duco, not ducio. And then ducimus, ducitus, ducunt, not duciunt. And then for the imperfect, ducebam, ducebas, ducebat, not duciebam, duciebas, etc. And then for the future, ducam, duces, ducet, not duciam, ducies, duciet. So when you see this little IO here with the third conjugation, know that it is an I stem and it's going to conjugate like fakara. Another common verb like this is kapara, to capture, to seize. Okay, the next new feature is in line 79. And let's go there and read profecto. Oh no, not there. We're going to start here. Yeah, profecto. Profecto me pudet hoc a meo filio factum esse. So, literally, of course, I'm ashamed that this was done by my son. More literally, of course, it shames me. Pudet, here we see in the margin, pudera, to be shameful, or to shame. Me pudet, I am ashamed, or it shames me. This me here, the accusative, is the object of pudet. You'll see in line 82 the same construction, but with the genitive of the thing that is causing the shame. So let's just translate that, and then I'll talk about the form. Here we are in line 82. Puerum pudet facti sui. Literally, it shames the boy of his deed. But we would say his deed makes the boy ashamed, or shames the boy. Of his deed here, this genitive is the construction that we find commonly with the verb pudera, the impersonal verb pudera. It shames the accusative of the thing that is causing the shame. Line 85 has our new grammar feature, another new grammar feature, where we have semper. It's a futurus sum. So we got certe malus puer fui, sed post hoc bonus puer futurus sum. Marcus says, certainly I was a bad boy, but after this, I will be a good boy, or I'm about to be a good boy. Futurus sum is a future active participle. And it basically means the same thing as the future active indicative. This future active participle has more of a sense that it's about to occur. So you might translate it with about to be. I'm about to be a good boy from now on. It means the basic equivalent of ero, the future active indicative of sum. The form itself is urusaum, depending on if it's masculine, feminine, or neuter. So if it were Julia, it would be Julia, or puella futura sum. I'm about to be a good girl. Futurus, so urusaum sum est, futurii a, plural, sumus estis sunt, would be the way that you would conjugate this verb. Now, it's similar in appearance to the future infinitive. The difference in the future infinitive is that you end up with the form futurum esse, that I will, and I like to conjugate those as if they were indirect speech. Futurum esse, that I will be. So if this were indirect speech, we'd get the future active participle future active infinitive, futurum esse. In line 90, we see an example of that. you can see the similarity in the form. So here we have indirect speech where Marcus se malum puerum fuisse fatetur, ac simul promittit, se post hoc bonum puerum futurum esse. So here we have Marcus admits that he was a bad boy, malum puerum fuisse, the perfect infinitive of sum, fuisse, that he was, and at the same time he promises, se post hoc bonum puerum futurum esse, that he, say, will be a good boy after this time. From now on, he will be. Futurum esse, he will be, in a direct speech. This is your future active infinitive. Why is it an infinitive? It's an infinitive here in that mood because of our indirect speech. Promises that. Okay, the next new feature is in line 106. So let's go down there and read the line. We have, okay, haec dominus haec omnia inquit facta sunt, quod medus eri domo fugit, nec odie Marcum in ludum euntem, etc. So the master says that all of these things happened, or were done. All of these things happened because Medus ran away from home yesterday, and today he was not able, non commentari potuit, was not able to accompany Marcus going to school and returning from there. So here we have a new form, euntem. Euntem, in the margin we find out that euntem comes from ire, to go. Part means it's a participle, so it's a participle from ire. It's a present active participle which conjugates a little bit irregularly. The nominative singular, meaning going, like the boy going to school, puer iens ludum, the boy going, iens, but that's the only form that has the I of ira. After that, the I turns into an E, and you end up with euntem in the accusative, euntis in the genitive, eunti, etc. So the full declension would be iens, euntem, euntis, eunti, eunte, and then the plural euntes, euntos, euntium, euntibus, euntibus. So remember that the characteristics of a participle, because it's a participle, it's part adjective and part verb, and has verbal characteristics and adjective characteristics. So euntem, because it's with Marcus, it's an accusative, masculine singular, just like Marcus, but then it also has the participle, the verb features of being a present. It has tense and voice, present active. So it's a present active participle, accusative, masculine singular. In line 107, we see a participle which is actually just a combination of re plus ira, re dira. So let's read this part where we've already read it, where we have returning. Marcus going to school and returning thence, or from there, ilink. So redeuntem is just red plus, so it's going to follow that same pattern of iens, euntem, euntis, etc., but add red in front of it. So rediens, redeuntem, redeuntis, redeunti, etc. So what are the tense and voice of redeuntem? It's going to be the same as euntem. It's a present active participle. And what would be the case number gender? It's going to be the same as euntem. It's going to be accusative, masculine, singular. In line 114, we see, starting in 113, quois Iuli inquit Marcumne verberatomis. Where are you going, Julius? She says. Are you going to spank Marcus? Verberatum is. So we have a verb of motion with the supine, first supine. So how do we translate it? We translate it as a purpose clause. Are you going for the purpose, or to go? Are you going to beat? Are you going to spank? Verberatum is. Remember, there are two different supines. There is this supine, and then there is the supine with the ablative supine with the adjectives facilis or difficilis, and that one ends in an u. It is easy to beat. Verberatu facilis. And don't mistake the supine as a construction with the supine stem. Remember, the supine stem is combined with sum and a variety of other words to form different tenses, moods, and voices of the verbs. So here we see the supine stem continue in this same line. Aemilia Marcum a patre verberatum iri putat. Aemilia thinks that Marcus will be spanked by his father. Verberatum iri. Okay, this, we have the supine stem combined with usa combined with iri, which is the way in Latin that we form the future passive infinitive. So I like to translate these infinitives when you have perfect active and passive, or future active and passive, as if they were an indirect statement, because that is frequently the way you'll see them. So putat, he thinks that, she thinks that he will be beaten. This would be a good time to compare these different kinds of infinitives. Now that you've been introduced to all the different forms, we could talk about the way that they look and the way that they're translated. So verberare, or verberatum iri, comes from the principal part. The first principal part of this would be verberare, to beat. If we were an indirect statement, it would be that he beats, or she thinks that he beats. Putat verberare, she thinks that he is beating right now. If we wanted to put this in the passive, we would say verberari, to be beaten. An indirect statement, it would be putat verberari, she thinks that he is being beaten right now. The perfect of verberare is verberawisse, to have beaten, active. So if it were an indirect statement, she thinks, putat, that he has beaten, so that Julius has already done it, verberawisse. If we wanted to put that in the passive, it'd be verberatum esse. She thinks that he has been beaten. She thinks that Marcus has been beaten. If we put it in the future, verberaturum esse, she thinks that he will beat, verberaturum esse. And the passive form is what we see here, verberatum iri. She thinks that he will be beaten. Okay, that was just a quick review of our infinitive forms we've done so far, and we'll need to continue practicing those, and you probably want to make a chart or study the chart for those in the back of your Lingua Latina book, or in your Latine disco, where you see the Grammatica Latina. In line 118, we see ego eum nec mutatum esse, nec post hac mutatum iri credo. I believe that he, here we're in an indirect statement again, I believe that he neither has been changed nor after this will be changed. So here we have a good time here's a good place to compare the perfect passive infinitive with the future passive infinitive. Perfect active infinitive, perfect passive infinitive, mutatum esse. Future passive infinitive, mutatum iri. She thinks that he thinks that he has not been changed, nec mutatum esse. And he thinks that he will not be changed, mutatum iri. The next new feature is in line 125. there. And we see Julius dicit se epistolam scripturum esse. So Julius, so we'll start with scriptura sum. Iam epistolam scriptura sum. Now I will write my letter. We've seen this the same form before, the future active participle, and what it means the exact same as the regular future, or pretty much the same. Scribam, I will write, meaning I'm about to write. Now I'm about to write my letter. You may want to translate it to be a little more precise with the future participle. If we were going to conjugate scripturus sum, we'd say scripturus aum sum es est. That means that the singular forms will go with sum es est. So if it were Amelia speaking, she would say iam epistolam scriptura sum. If it were some neuter thing speaking, if you can imagine this, then we'd have iam epistolam scripturum sum. And the same thing for you. If you were using scripturus es, you're talking about a guy. Julius, you will write, Julius scripturus es. And if it were like you talk to Amelia, Amelia scriptura es, you will write. The plural would be scripturiae summus est sunt, following those same rules. Whatever the subject is, the ending here of the participle, remember, because it's part adjective, needs to match your subject, or match the word that it is modifying here. Okay, the next new feature is in line 120. Well, we see in 126, we've already read it, the Julius dicit se epistolam scripturum esse. Julius says that he will write his letter. Indirect statement says that, and we have the infinitive mood. Why? Because we're in an indirect statement. And what is the tense mood in voice of scripturum esse? It is an infinitive. Notice that you can tell that from the essay, that it is active. It's not that he will be written, but that he will write. He's actively doing it, and it is and then future, because he's about to do it. The urus aum tells you the future tense. The last feature is in line 130. It's another review of the principal parts. We have tabellarius qui epistulam magistri tradidit tempus perdit, si furis responsum meum operitur. So this is Julius speaking. He says, the mailman who handed over the letter to the teacher is wasting his time if he is waiting for my response outside. Or, sorry, this is the mailman who handed over the teacher's letter is wasting his time if he's waiting for my response outside. So, tradidit, handed over. Look in the margin at the three principal parts of tradidit. You've got tradera, tradidisse, traditum. Tradera, to hand over, tradidisse, to have handed over, traditum esse, to have been handed over. These, the stems for each one of these, because it's a third conjugation, the stem for the present is just trad, take off the ura. The stem for the perfect is tradid, take off the isse. And then the supine stem, tradit, take off the tradit. So you get trad, tradid, tradit. And those stems will form all of the tenses, moods, and voices of the verbs in Latin. So this is the end of the new grammar and syntax for chapter 23. Thanks for listening.